Hey friends, if you've ever opened your banking app and then seen the number and thought, that makes sense, but where did all of my money go? Then this video is for you, because today I'm giving you a complete walkthrough of Billroo. Billroo is an app that I've been building with my team over the past 2 years. And the reason why I wanted to start this business in the first place is because I really wanted to figure out where my money is going. And all of the budgeting apps and tools and budget trackers that I've tried in the past weren't really sticky enough for me, and I kept on going back to using a spreadsheet because I couldn't find one that did everything that I wanted it to do. So in this video, I'll walk you through exactly how to use Billroo step by step. I'll take you through how to create an account and connect your bank accounts, how to build your first budget, how to clean up any messy transactions, and even how to use the advanced features like a tax report and what to ask the Billroo AI, so you can get really deep insights about your spending patterns and your budget. So you can follow along on mobile and on desktop. You can use this QR code up here, and I've also got a link in the description below for a 14-day free trial of Billroo. Our team is all based in Australia, except for our product designer who is based in New Zealand. And I'm honestly so proud of the product that we've built, and I'm just excited to keep on improving it in the future. Keep in mind that this video is general advice only and not personal financial advice. You can read my full financial services guide in the description. So sit back and relax and grab a drink of your choice. I'm drinking coffee with oat milk because it's the morning and I love getting a bit of caffeine in the morning, and let's jump into the video. So the first step is to download the app and create an account. It's really easy through the app or also the desktop version. I simply go register. I put in my email, for example. I just fill out my details. And then I can sign up for a free trial. So there's a monthly plan and also a yearly plan. I'm going to choose the monthly plan. So once I've signed up, I land on this screen and I can choose to connect my bank account or add a transaction. I'm going to select connect my bank account. By the way, in order to connect your bank account, Billroo actually uses open banking, which is a government-backed initiative. It gives apps like Billroo access to read your transactions, but it can never touch your money. So I simply go here, connect. Here I can search for my bank account, for example, Ubank. Then I go into my Ubank app. Data sharing. Here I just copy my data sharing ID and I put it in here. And then I go next. Here I can choose the bank accounts that I would like to share. I'm just going to select all of them. And there we have it. I've just connected my bank to Billroo. Sometimes there are issues connecting a bank account. It could be the bank side, maybe it's the permission screen, and sometimes it's as simple as a particular bank having a temporary outage. If you're having any issues connecting your bank account, the easiest way is to contact our support at support@billroo.com, and you can also visit the help center at help.billroo.com and we'll be able to sort out your issue. It also takes around 1 hour for your transactions to start syncing into Billroo, but once it's available, your bank feeds will sync seamlessly. So now we'll move on to creating a budget. I can go to the budget page and here I can create a budget. So I can edit and delete any of these categories and then just click next, go through rent, utilities, car, any of these things, and then click next. And there you have it. I've just created my first budget, and I can always edit any of these categories whenever I need to. There are some non-bank lenders like Amex which aren't part of open banking yet. But the good news is these are on the roadmap to be connected with open banking, and this should be complete by the end of 2026 to early 2027. So if there are any transactions that you would like to add from any of these non-bank lenders like Amex, here's exactly how you can upload those transactions with a CSV instead. Even though it is a bit annoying having to upload these things manually, we have tried to streamline the process of uploading a CSV as much as possible so it's really easy and quick. And we didn't want to collect people's personal information like their bank account ID and their password and scrape the data from these non-bank lenders, because security is really important to us. So that's the reason why you can't connect some of these other accounts. So here's how I upload a CSV from Amex. So I log into my Amex account, I choose download statements. Here I can download a statement like this, but I actually prefer to do the custom date range. And I'll select it from the 1st of December to the 31st. And then I just click download. as a CSV. And here I go to transactions, upload CSV. And I just make sure that it's mapped to the columns correctly, and then I select next. If there are any transactions that I don't want to import, I can simply just check the box and make sure those transactions aren't imported. And some banks and credit cards, instead of doing minus for a negative transaction, they might actually list them as a positive transaction and vice versa. So if you see any of these transactions not coming up with the right sign, either a positive or a negative, you can swap the amounts like this, and it basically reverses the signs so that it imports correctly. And then I simply go continue. And there we have it, I've just imported my transactions. So the next step is categorizing transactions. By default, your transactions will be automatically categorized. And if you want to switch it off at any time, you can simply click here and then turn it off. But I like to keep it on. You can also see which transactions have been automatically categorized with this little bolt icon. I personally like to go through each transaction one by one and make sure that they are correctly categorized. This is a bit annoying to do, especially if it is your first time. But the good news is once you have actually categorized a few transactions, the auto categorize feature gets smarter, and in the future, when you have a similar transaction, it will use the category that you've changed it to in the future. And we also have a new feature which allows you to bulk update similar transactions from the past. So let's say, for example, I want to change this one to health. I can do that. And you can see it'll update future similar transactions to health. And let's say I want to change this one to travel. Here I can review and update similar transactions. So I simply click here, and now I can bulk update similar transactions from the past into this new category. And let's say I want to change this one to side hustle. I can review and update similar categories. And here I can update all of these transactions to the new side hustle category. So the good thing is the more that you use this tool, the smarter it will get. And with my own personal Billroo account, I rarely actually have to recategorize transactions. Most of them come through correctly, which is really cool. So what exactly are transfers? One of the default categories is this thing called transfers, and you'll see it in blue in your Billroo account. You know when you have a few different bank accounts and you want to transfer some money from this bank account into this bank account, but you basically get a negative transaction going from this account to this account, and then a positive transaction coming from this account into this account. I hope that makes sense. So for every single transaction, you basically have a negative expense and a positive expense when you have your bank accounts connected. This can make it really confusing when you are going through your transactions, because your transactions can sometimes be doubled up and you're basically just moving money from one place into another place. It's not really like you're making a purchase or you're receiving income. So when you are moving money between your own different bank accounts, what I like to do is to mark those transactions as transfers. And what this basically does is, instead of calculating it on the overview page that you have had a negative expense or you've had some income from a transfer, it basically excludes those transactions from showing up on your overview page. And you can also choose to hide your transfer transactions here on your transactions page, just to clean up your dashboard a little bit. One thing to note though is it's still important to review your transfer transactions, because sometimes genuine purchases might be marked as transfer and therefore excluded from your overview page. So I like to filter by transfer. So I simply go here, category, and then I find transfer. And then I can basically review all of my transfers and make sure that they are actually transfers. And the good thing is all of my transfers were in fact transfers. So let's go through how to use tags. There might be some transactions that you'd like to filter by later. Let's say, for example, you have some transactions that are tax deductible. You can tag a transaction by clicking here, tag transaction. Here I can search for a tag. Let's say, for example, tax deductible. And there you have it. I've just tagged that transaction as tax deductible. And let's say, for example, I want to filter by my tax deductible tag. All of my potentially tax deductible expenses will show up here. But you could do this for a range of different things. Let's say, for example, you want to track your holiday expenses, or you want to track your wedding expenses, or tax deductible expenses, anything that you basically want to track, but maybe the transactions goes across a few different categories and you just want to group them all in the one place. That's where I like using the tags feature. And to tag a transaction on mobile, I simply click here, edit transaction, and here I can select a tag. So let's get into the overview page and what it's actually telling you. You'll basically see a lot of red and green on the screen. When you look at your income summary, if there are any transactions that are in red, it means that you received less income than you were expecting in your budget. And if it's green in the income category, it means that you're on budget or over budget in your income, which is a good thing. It basically means you earned more money. When it comes to expenses, if there's a category that's in red, it means that you're over budget in an expense. But if it's green, it means you're on budget or under budget, which is a good thing when it comes to your expenses. You'll also be able to scroll down to the bottom and you'll be able to see your total in your budget, which is basically the amount that you had budgeted for, and your total actual, which basically means the actual amount that you've earned or spent in your given period. You'll also be able to see if you're over budget or under budget. And you can also click this little toggle here and you can toggle off percentages, or you could toggle on dollar figure. So basically when you toggle on the dollar figure, it will show you if you're over or under budget in a category and give you the amount of money that you're over or under budget. But then if you use the percentage, it will show you if you're over or under budget as a percentage of your budget. And this is what the overview page looks like on mobile. As you can see here, green means that you're on budget or over budget when it comes to your income, which is a good thing. You can also click this here and it will give it to you in a table view. And when it comes to your expenses, it will be red if you're over budget in a category and green if you're under budget in a category. So green if you've spent less money than you thought, or red if you've spent more money than you thought. And you can also click on this and it will give it to you in a table view. The actual number means this is what you've actually spent or what you've actually earned. And the budget is basically the number that you've set in your budget categories. And you can change these numbers at any time. Something that I personally like doing is looking at my complete year in review. So I simply use the start date and I can select any date range. Let's say, for example, I want to do the 1st of January 2025 until the 31st of December 2025, and that will give me a complete year in review. And here I can see exactly how much I've earned, how much I've spent, and I can also see how much I've invested or saved, and how much I've paid off debt. And to do this on mobile, I simply click the three dots here, and here I can go from, let's say for example, the 1st of January 2025 until the 31st of December 2025. And here I can see exactly how much money I've earned and how much money I've spent. And also my savings, investments, and debt. Here's exactly how you can compare different months of the year. So you can go into the Compare Months tab, and here you can compare different months. So let's say, for example, I want to compare December 2025 with November 2025. And here I can compare all of those different categories. I can see which months I earned more in different categories and which months I spent less in different categories. There's also a year-to-date report, which I just click here. And because it's the first week of the month, we don't have a full year in review, but it basically will show you your income and expenses for different months throughout the year. So you can see how your expenses and income are trending over a whole year period. If you prefer budgeting, say weekly or fortnightly, and you want to create your own custom recurring report on the overview page, here's exactly how to do it. So let's say, for example, you want to create a weekly report that starts on the 1st of December and finishes on the 7th of December. You can save this range. You can name it Weekly Report. And then I can choose to turn this into a recurring report, which will start weekly from Monday. And I can save this range. And basically I can just go into my weekly report and it will update based on the time period that I've selected. And if I want to go into the past, I can simply click here and it will go into my previous weekly reports. And to delete it, I can simply click on Delete Range. So this is by far one of my favorite features of the Billroo app, and that's the Billroo AI. Here's exactly how to use it. So I simply click here, AI Assistant, and here I can type in anything. And if I'm on mobile, here's how to access it. I simply click AI Assistant, and here they have some pre-selected questions that I can ask the AI, but I can also choose to ask my own. Here are some prompts that I really love giving the AI based on my spending habits and my budget to help me get really good insights about how I'm tracking with my finances and any areas that I need to improve on. So this month in January, I'm actually doing a low spend month. So Pablo and I have decided that we're not going to spend any money on clothes. We're not going to spend any money on eating out or entertainment as well. And instead of shopping at Woolworths and Coles, we're actually doing our weekly grocery shopping at Aldi instead. So I'm going to ask the AI, based on how I've spent my money on average in the past 6 months, in January, if I don't spend any money on clothes, eating out, travel, and entertainment, and I switch to shopping at Aldi for my groceries, how much money will I save in January? You can use an average of my expenses in these categories as an average for the past 6 months. Excited to see what they say. So the AI has said by eliminating spending on clothes, eating out, travel, entertainment, and switching to Aldi for groceries, we could save approximately $3,300 in January alone, which is really exciting and motivating. Basically, we're going to use this extra money to pay off our wedding completely, so then we don't have to worry about that in our 2026 budget moving forward. And we also like to be a bit more frugal in the first 3 months at the beginning of the year, so then we can invest more money and we can kind of relax a bit towards the end of the year. I can also use it to forecast things. So let's say, for example, if I wanted to extend this low spend challenge to not just January, but also February and March, let's estimate and forecast how much I could save. Okay, this is where it gets really exciting. By continuing this challenge to not only just a 1-month challenge, but a 3-month challenge, we could potentially save $9,943, which is just crazy. And we can use this $10,000 in any number of ways. We could contribute some more money into our investments. We could use it to build up an investment property deposit. We could use it to go on a holiday. Honestly, we could use it to renovate our home. Honestly, the options are endless. Something else that you can ask the AI is to give you kind of like a Spotify Wrapped, but with your spending. So I can ask it, based on how I spent my money in 2025, can you give me Spotify Wrapped, but for my spending, savings, investments, income, etc. And now I have my 2025 Billroo Wrapped, which is really cool. It always surprises me just how much money we earn from Facebook Marketplace. These are usually things that we don't track because usually we get cash whenever we sell something on Marketplace, and we never used to really track it in our budgeting spreadsheet. But now with Billroo, you can easily add manual transactions, and it really helps us keep track of those things whenever we receive cash or whenever we give cash. So it's pretty amazing to see just how much money we've earned through Facebook Marketplace. So I hope this has given you some ideas of things that you can ask the Billroo AI. Honestly, there are so many things that you can ask the AI. It's literally endless. Another amazing feature that I really love using is the Billroo tax reports. This can basically help you find any potentially tax deductible transactions, because you know when you're spending money throughout the year and you might buy some things for work, but then later when it comes to tax time, you've completely forgotten about all the potentially tax deductible purchases that you made throughout the year. Well, this tool basically helps solve that problem. So it's currently only available on the desktop version. To go there, I simply click tax report, and here I can generate a new report. Here I pick my occupation because the AI basically finds tax deductible expenses based on your occupation, but it's always really important to run these potentially tax deductible transactions by your accountant, because of course it is still using AI technology and it's not 100% perfect. So I'm going to put small business owner, and I do have an investment property, and I'll just start generating the report. So it takes around 5 minutes to generate a tax report, and now mine is done. So I simply click View Report. And here I can see all of my potentially tax deductible expenses. So here I can go through and I can just double check and see if there are any purchases that are potentially tax deductible. I can simply export all of these transactions into a CSV and then send it off to my accountant. And if there are any purchases that aren't tax deductible, let's say for example, this purchase, which is a furniture purchase, isn't really tax deductible, I can simply click delete, and here it will delete it from my report. And there you have it. So here's how you can export your Billroo transactions to a CSV. To do it, I simply click here, and then I can choose to export. And then I can download it to a CSV. Soon we'll be able to have infinite scroll, which means that you'll be able to export all of your Billroo transactions into a CSV, but we don't have this feature yet. So at the moment, it's 50 at a time. So here's how you can archive your budget categories. Let's say, for example, there was an expense that you wanted to track in the past, but maybe you've stopped doing it and you don't really need to track it moving forward. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to archive your categories yet, but here's what I personally do. If there's something that I'd like to archive, instead of deleting it, because this will basically uncategorize all of those transactions, I'll just basically set the budget to 0. So therefore, all of my previous transactions are still categorized, but it's not really affecting my budget moving forward. On the mobile app, any category that doesn't have any transactions in a selected period won't show on the mobile app by default. So you won't see all of these unnecessary categories pop up, but we are going to add this archive category feature in the future. So here's how to review miscellaneous purchases. Let's say, for example, you buy something from Amazon or Kmart and you make one purchase, but it's actually for multiple different categories. Basically, you can filter it by a category. I usually put those purchases in an expense category called MISC, and then I can review those things and make sure that I've allocated them into the correct category. So let's say, for example, there's a category that I would like to split into a few different categories. We don't have a split category feature yet, but what I can do is edit a transaction, and let's say $5 of this purchase was actually for, can update it, and then I can change this category to, say for example, health. And then I can add a new category, which is $4.99 for Amazon. And that's basically how I do it. We're constantly improving this tool based on your feedback. So if you have any feedback for us or any features that you would like us to prioritize, you can simply go to the Vote for New Features tab, and here you can upvote any features that you really want to see in this tool. We check this page constantly to prioritize new features for Billroo in the future. As you can see here, we do have a lot of features that are live now based on your feedback from the roadmap. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. Your secret word is happy spend. So write us a comment below with the word happy spend in it, just so we know you watched this video all the way through. Thank you. Bye.